What's up, everyone? Coach Angie here with Conversation with Coach Angie. Welcome back to this amazing platform. I want to thank everyone who supports me in all that I do. I don't know if you just saw the promo for my book. You say you want to work out, but you don't. Why? Unlocking the why to unleash the how. And I want to thank those who supported and purchased and who find value, because every day I'm driven by my mission to empower women 35 and over, helping them to rediscover their inner strength and balance through a holistic approach to fitness and well-being, you all, because I believe that every woman deserves to feel vibrant, confident, and fulfilled at every stage of her life. So that's my intention. I'm on a mission to touch as many women as possible. And I am so grateful that God is giving me this platform and just has placed in me the want, the need to help, to serve. And that's who I invite on my platform with me to help and serve women over 35. So my guest today is no stranger to Conversation with Coach Angie. He is an amazing, amazing human being. He has over 40 years of experience in women's health. And I'm always super excited to always bring him here for him to drop some gems, you all, about our health. So without further ado, would you please help me welcome Dr. Akmal? Are you here?
Yes, I am here. Let me see. All right, there
Beautiful,
it is.
handsome face.
How are you today, my dear?
I'm doing well. I am at my parents' house. So the lighting is not the way I would love for it to be. I'm in my mommy's prayer closet. You see the little girls praying in the back
I do.
of me. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be before everyone, coming from my parents' home and talking about autumn, right? We're talking about
Yep, we're
autumn and
talking
women's
about
health.
autumn. I got some.
Yes, and I can't wait to get into it, and other things that I would love to know more about and that women have reached out to me about to ask you. So
Okay.
let's get it, Dr. Akmal. Talk to us about autumn and women's health.
So, so when we start talking about the seasons, and I've said this before on your platform, we have to talk about the factor that in Chinese medicine, you have the organ network. Okay, the organs are in a network. And I'm not going to get deep into that. If people are interested, then they would see me on Saturday and we could talk about that. But each season, a set of organs are at their peak. And so when they're at their peak, what now begins to happen is that now that set of organs is in a place where balance can happen for it. Okay? So the balance of autumn are the lungs and the large intestines. Okay? And when we start looking at that, we start looking at the fact of inspiration and elimination. Okay? The oxygenation of the blood from the lungs increases the cleansing of the blood. The large intestine's job is to get rid of the waste byproducts from the foods that we eat. And so when we begin to do that, what happens is that the system gets to be cleansed. As I said once before, there are 2 seasons that are cleansing and there are 2 seasons that are nourishing. The cleansing seasons are the spring and the fall. The nourishing seasons are the summer and winter. Those are water seasons. The the seasons that are cleansing season are grass seasons. Just think about it. You know, most people have hay fever or sinusitis, things of that nature, either in the spring or in the autumn. They don't have it so much in the summer and the wintertime. And when you have it in the wintertime, that just means your body's just really nasty. Your body's really trying to clean itself out. We have to understand when your nose starts to run, that's your nose saying there's too much mucus inside. When you got mucus coming up into your throat, that's saying that there's too much of that. Now, during this season, okay, during autumn, is the time to clear that mucus out your lungs. So it's a good time if you're a person that smokes cigarettes and you want to stop smoking cigarettes. This is the season to stop doing that. Okay, this is the season to put that into play because of the fact that this is the season of the lungs. If you have asthma, this is a season to help to reduce and or eliminate asthma in the autumn, in spring, because it has to do with the lungs and the large intestines, which now has to do with immunity in traditional Chinese medicine. So when we start to look at that, what are we looking at? Okay, we're looking at the factor that within the compounds of autumn, we can increase our immunity. We can assist in losing the waste that we call weight. And we can help to boost and enhance immunity and reduce and or eliminate health disharmonies that we have. This is a season, and I have some points up. I had them on a computer, and the computer went south on me, so I had to come out of my head with them. But this is the season when if you have high blood pressure, okay, this is the season to start to work on getting rid of high blood pressure. If you've got diabetes, this is the season to start doing that. If you're talking about being able to get more oxygenation in your blood, this is the time to start to do breathing exercise. Really do breathing exercise because of the fact that this is the time. Autumn is the season when the body will begin to function for you if you begin to work with the lungs and large intestines. And for women, it goes along with how menstruation happens, how when she begins to do her pausing happens, and when women are in a state of emotions and emotionalism. That's like the emotions for fall are grief and sadness. And when we start talking about that, if a person is grieving and has sadness during autumn, this is a good time to work it out. Work it out with yourself, work it out with a therapist, but this is the season to work it out. Why? Because if you carry that over until winter, what's going to happen is, it doesn't have to happen, but what could happen is the factor that you go into winter with holding on to that. And so here comes fear and depression, which now begins to shut down your kidneys. And if your kidneys get shut down, it could shut down your lungs. So then you wind up with shortness of breath. Mm-hmm. Which now you go and you get some medication, but the medication is trying to do something physical when it's a mental situation.
Mm, great
So,
point. Great point. So let's get into it, Dr. Akmal. How? What are the things we can be doing right now to balance ourselves throughout this process, especially those of us who are grieving?
so the first thing you do in terms of that is this. Think about the factor of the person's life. Think about what joy, prosperity, happiness that they helped you contribute. And think about the factor that when you think about that, that's not sadness. When you think about that, that's in a place where you are now happy or should be happy or feeling joyous because this person allowed you to be part of their journey called life because the person didn't have to do that. Whether it's your parents, your friends, your siblings, they didn't actually have to do that. They could have allowed you to just be there and not acknowledge you. But if they acknowledged you, then what happens is that now that says that they loved you and so you were part of their journey. And so that's a blessing and you should be grateful. Okay? That gratefulness will overcome the grief and the sadness because now you put them in your life in a different place because of the fact that they're still with you. Then people are still with you. The piece of that is that with that grief, you can't see them or feel them. When you acknowledge them and acknowledge the joy and the happiness that they've contributed to your life and what you've contributed to their life, you can't do anything but be grateful and have joy. You see, because grieving is a hard piece, especially when you lose people that are close to you. Grieving can be very, very difficult. But in the fall, it can bring on asthma. It can bring on skin issues, eczema, psoriasis. It can bring on shortness of breath. And if it gets entangled with the liver, it could bring on other kinds of things like, you not really working to work with yourself. And so you decide you want to step off the planet. Okay. And so the piece of that is the fact that this is the season, if you're grieving, this is the season to work through that. The other piece of that is the fact that don't binge eat because of that. A lot of people binge eat when they're grieving. This is comfort.
Yeah.
When
So there's binge eating because they're grieving. There's eating because they're in the house now. Like the weather is starting to change. So it's like double fold.
Mhm. And in the winter it's going to get worse because if you're living in an area where it used to snow, because global warming got us doing a whole different thing now. So if you're living in an area where it used to snow, then the piece of that is that if it's still snowing there, then that means that you're going to spend time in your house. And so now by spending more time by yourself, and even if you're married, you got children, that kind of thing, you still can be with them, but alone. Okay.
Right.
And so if that's the case, then one of the things I said, reach out and talk to somebody. It
Yeah.
may not be a therapist. It may be somebody that that's a friend. It may be the coach from the gym that you went to. I mean, but talk to somebody, because of the fact that that can get caught up in your DNA to the point where in the wintertime, your stem cells and your DNA may not function to the optimum that you want it to function to, so that you are able to really, really heal. You see.
Mhm.
So when we start talking about the factor of emotions and emotions during this season, we have to look at the factor that those emotions from this season can shut you down. And when they shut you down, it may be difficult to get back on board. I tell people, I suggest to people that if you're grieving, stay away from substances,
Mhm.
alcohol, drugs, ice cream, cookies, because because people just go in at it,
Yeah.
and as
Let
they
me
go
ask
in
you a
at it,
question about but let me ask you a question about green tea, because green tea naturally has caffeine in it. Um and that's a substance, right? People love coffee that has caffeine in it. That's a substance. So what do you say about that? Especially for my audience, the Peri plus menopausal women who caffeine can be a trigger for hot flashes. So what do you think about green tea and all of the things?
so so green tea is a powerful antioxidant.
Hmm.
Green tea will work to keep cancer away from you.
Hmm.
Um, Green tea also interacts with what we call the cannabinoids, and so because it does that, green tea is a very healthy tea to drink. Now, with women, for men, it's really good because of the fact that it keeps us men away from prostate issues, and more so prostate cancer. There's research that talks about that. You can Google that. And
Okay.
and and so when you start to look at how green tea functions, and women, and when Minna starts to pause, or she's thinking about it, what now happens is that when you drink green tea, you should not drink green tea every day. Now, there's a difference but there's a difference in that green tea piece. And the difference is, and the difference is that with the green tea, you would drink it maybe once or twice a week,
Okay.
or you would do an experiment. And the experiment that you would do would be, you would be able to take some and see how it affects your body.
Hmm.
Okay. And so if you find that you're drinking this tea, and this tea is actually causing you to have hot flashes
Hmm.
and or night sweats, then you know that you need to back up from
Okay. So how many
it.
cups do you think a week then, if it is doing that, if it is causing it? Because it's so good for you.
So
So you don't
so
want to not drink it.
well, there's other things that you could put in its place.
Okay.
Um, okay. But if it's affecting your hormones like that, then let me put it like this: I wouldn't want to take it and suffer. Okay. No
Right,
matter
right,
no matter
right.
how great it is
Absolutely.
for what it does, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to drink it and say, "So sure it's good. I'm glad it's going in," and then say, "Whew, what in the world is going on now?" I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, you have some women would do that, but that
So
would
what's
not.
an alternative that's just as powerful?
So I would say peppermint tea. Okay. Is a nice tea for women to drink. Um, chase tree berries. Okay.
Mhm.
That's a good tea. I do a thing that's called female yin balance. That really helps balance women's hormones. Deng Quai, which is a Chinese herb, angelica.
Mhm.
That's another one that women could drink. You know, to get what women need. Okay, when you start talking, and let me go back to green tea, because if you buy green tea in a bag, it's not
Mhm.
the same as when you buy it loose.
Okay.
Okay, there's two different elements happening there. When you buy it, for instance, when I buy it, it's called gunpowder. Okay, and the gunpowder green tea is, I have to scoop it, put it in a strainer, pour hot water over, and let it sit. Okay. With a tea bag, you take the tea bag and set it in the cup. The interesting thing that a lot of people don't know about tea bags is you're not supposed to dunk tea bags. You know how people dunk the tea bag to get it
Mhm.
to, no, because what happens is that you don't get all of the nutrients that you're coming out of it. So what you do is you allow it to sit there and let it seep into the water. That's how
That's what I
that,
do.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
how
I
that
just leave it in there.
right. And then
Mhm.
and then tea bags. Now, if you want to use green tea and you use tea bags, that's not as strong as loose green tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Nettles is
Yeah.
another tea. Nettles is a really good tea. And
I drink nettles. It increases your iron, right? It has,
right, that's right.
yeah,
And
iron increasing properties.
and another one is red raspberry.
Yes, I drink
Women,
that too.
women, yeah, women should be drinking red raspberry, because red raspberry um just aids the uterus in all that it does. And I know there are some women that might be listening that have had the uterus extracted, but
Mhm.
understand this: the energy of your uterus is still there. Okay.
Mm.
And in my classes, which is a class I got coming up on Saturday, as well, in my classes, I assist women in having that understanding and how to feel and move that energy around in their pelvis. Okay, because of
Mm.
the fact that it's still there. You know?
You want to go to Dr. Akmal Speaks so you can get the information for this class. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah. The class on Saturday will teach women, is the first of 12. You can
Okay.
decide whether you want to take all 12 or you just want to take one. But the class will get into the fact of some of what we just talked about, some herbs. It'll talk about some minerals,
Mhm.
some vitamins. It'll talk about self-care. It'll also talk about the factor of tween our self-care, which, before we leave this evening, I want to give you 4 points. And so with that, what happens is that now women start to create the balance for their life in terms of their health. You know, we talk about foods. That's like, this is a season to eat things like apricots, okay?
I'm
Because
sorry, can you repeat that?
apricots, an
Apricots.
apricot.
What about apricot seeds?
I was about to say that. So,
Uh,
so apricot seeds. You have to be careful how you cultivate them, because on one end they could be poison. On another end, they have been researched to handle and work to remove certain types of cancer. Okay. Um, so when you start talking about that, you start looking at the factor that um, certain foods do certain things. This
mhm.
is autumn is the season of root vegetables. Okay, and so women should be thinking about root vegetables. They can go to my website. They can pull down the chart
Mhm.
that will let them know that this is foods that you eat in the season. Artichokes. Artichokes are good because of the factor that women are very susceptible to heart attacks, cardiovascular issues, and a lot of
Mhm.
that don't really is not really because of the clogging of the arteries, but it's because of the emotions that women carry. So
Mhm.
artichokes are good for that. Artichokes is a good, and it's an autumn food. Root vegetables, okay. Beets. Beets not only have iron, they bring the blood pressure down, okay, and they aid the blood in cleansing itself because of the factor of the um, elements that are in the beet itself, okay.
Mhm.
that will
I hope
that
you
will
all are taking notes out there. Is he talking too fast for me to put it put it in on the screen? So I hope you're taking notes. We're talking green tea. We're talking red raspberry tea. We're talking apricots, fresh and seeds. Make sure you do your research on the seeds. Um, artichokes. And I did want to say something really quickly to you, Dr. Akmal, or ask a question, because this is what I have been encountering with my women recently. That since menopause, and I know this won't be a surprise to you, their blood pressure and cholesterol has gone up.
Mhm,
And that is something, like you said, that's not necessarily related to artery clogging, but also hormonal imbalance, right?
mhm.
And what can they do? This is something I have to get answered for them because so many of them are coming to me about this.
it
And
it
I'm no
it
doctor.
depends. It really depends, and it depends on the woman, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on her lifestyle. It depends on how her elbow functions with that food that she's putting in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You
What
know,
if
so
she's fit? What if she's fit? She doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink, but yet she has those two elements happening in her life. She
so
exercises, she doesn't eat
so
meat hardly.
so then that could be a number of different things. It could be the factor of how many children she had. Okay.
Well, she
Did
only had one child.
Okay, so she had one child. How many aunts and uncles does she have on her mother's side? How many aunts and uncles does she have on her?
Zero.
Okay, so then I to fit that scenario, I would probably say that she'd have to watch the temperament of the foods that she eats. Even if she's eating clean, she should understand her blood type and what foods she needs to eat for her blood type. I would say she should eat foods in seasons and understand how to combine foods, how to eat foods in their proper combination.
Mhm.
Because when you start talking about that, there's a lot of different factors that go into that have to do with the factor of how a woman or a person in general maintains health.
Mhm.
See, because your body can say, and through Western medicine, they say, well, yeah, you're healthy, you're real healthy. But you'd come to Chinese medicine, and I'd look at your tongue, and if you came in person, I'd palpate some points on your body, and that would tell me which organs are out of balance. You see,
Mhm.
I mean, you might have the stamina and all of that, but the liver's causing havoc, and so because the liver's causing havoc, now your blood pressure's rising.
Mhm.
Because of the factor that your spleen's out of balance. What now is happening is that now you're gaining what we call weight, which is waste, and your hormones are off the chart. Your kidneys, your kidneys could be in a place where um, you got pregnant when you was 16 years old. So what that did was that created an issue that your body wasn't ready for. And so now where you are, your body's trying to figure out now how to create that balance. So there's a lot of different dynamics when you look at the on the Chinese side as to what's happening when you start talking about menopause, perimenopause, those kinds of things. You want to be able to take in things that's going to put certain things in your body. That's like, you want to, women should think about, and especially at that age, how to put in things like soy products. Now, soy products are interesting because of the fact that on one side, a few of the soy products that we eat are not really digestible, because of the fact of the way that they're being manufactured and the way that they're being put in the food. The other way that we need to look at that is in regards to the factor that soy can be very influential to women's health in regards to the latter part and the advanced part of their age. But you have to use it in a fermented way. So when I talk about fermented, some people look at tofu. I ain't looking at tofu. Put tofu over there. Okay. I'm looking at things like miso, um, nete, okay, which is another product made from soy, is fermented, and tempeh, okay, which is another that's fermented in soy. So when you start looking at taking in those kinds of soy, what happens is that soy now begins to work in your system. You don't want to take too much of it, because then when you take too much of it, what can happen is that now you can wind up having some other kind of issues. You see.
So I guess that's another conversation, because we definitely don't want to mess around with soy without knowing exactly what we should be, doing, how much we should be taking. And I know probably organic miso is the way to go. You still want to know where it's sourced and all of that. And so I wanted you to, I need to go to these 4 points that you wanted to talk about, because I have my prayer call coming up. So
Okay.
I need to be done
So
in about
so
3 minutes.
so the first one is taking two fingers and right here on the side of the neck, and just do this on both sides. You know, that's one
So
of
these
them.
are pressure points that do
Right.
what?
That's actually it's a stomach point. And so what it does is it clears the throat. Okay.
Mm,
It clears the
let me
sinus.
clear my throat.
It
Damn.
clears the head, and it brings down the blood pressure, because it functions with the hippocampus in the endocrine system.
So am
But
I in the right place?
it's right here. It's right there.
So under,
It's right on the cotter, um uh, um, artery.
I
Cotter,
feel it.
yeah. Okay. So it'll come out in a minute, but it won't come out right now. But it's right there on the artery. On the.
So how long should you rub like that?
It's up to you how long you want to rub. You know,
Okay.
this is about your body, and this is about you feeling and understanding your body.
Mm-hmm.
The next one has to do with right here, right under here. Okay, right
Mm-hmm.
under here. And so that one, you take your finger and just do this. That's it. Just do this. And what that's doing is, and you're going counterclockwise with this one. You're going counterclockwise. Okay. And that's
Counterclockwise.
and that's working on your heart. That's your heart. Okay. And so that's going to also help to work on bringing down your blood pressure. And then
Okay.
right here, okay, right there, right in here, you're gonna take your thumb and you're gonna do this. Yeah, you're gonna do this on your with that. Right. That's it. So this is LI4. This is gonna open up your bowels. Very heavy point. It's gonna work, and you're gonna do it on both hands. Okay, you're
Okay.
gonna do it on both hands. This is gonna open up your bowels, and it ain't gonna give you diarrhea. Don't even think about that. But what it's gonna do is it's gonna assist your bowels in their movement, and it's gonna allow the large intestines to do the function that it needs to do in order for your bowels to move properly. Okay,
Okay.
and then right here in the crest of the arm, right here in the crest of the arm, right in there. Yeah, you can stick your finger right in there and rotate it. That's going to help also to bring down the blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to also work on the bowels. Okay, and it's going to allow for the lungs to relax. So now we're going to lung issue points. So you have a lung point right here. I normally take my thumb and rotate in there, just like this here. No, it's right here.
Counterclockwise.
Right. It's right there. You see it? It's right
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there. Okay.
Yep.
So we're gonna do it there, and we're gonna do it here. Okay.
Bring
And
your hand in. Okay.
and and you can do it this way. Okay. Sometimes I like to do it this way, which is actually take my hand and maneuver it like this here, and
Mm-hmm.
go in just like this here. Okay.
Okay.
And I normally do that, and you normally do that on both hands. And so when you do that, you unblock your throat, you increase the flow of chi and blood in your head, and you're able to release your throat, bring your blood pressure down, start to work so that the diabetes reduces, and maintain the balance of your heart. And that's the last one. The last one is, let me see how I can do this here. Let me bring this down a little bit. The last one is right here. And so, not to be disrespectful to you women, but if you put your hand here, the middle of your hand should be right over your nipple. Okay. And so,
Right here.
yep, right. And so the nipple, your breast nipple should be right in the middle of your hand. And so
Okay.
here, you're gonna do both. You're gonna go this way.
Somebody
Yeah.
getting a surprise when they come on here. This is for your health, people.
Yeah, this is for you. And you're not pressing on your breast. And even if you have large breasts, your hands can be here, because we're not
Yeah.
pressing. We're actually using these two fingers, okay,
Okay.
to be able
Okay.
to get that release happening in the chest.
Uh,
That's gonna
I
that's
love
gonna
this. I love this. Thank you for showing us all of these different points in
you're
our
welcome.
bodies to help us be
You're,
healthier.
you're
Uh,
welcome.
I,
On
I,
Saturday, go ahead.
okay. No, you go ahead.
So on Saturday, I have the Prevention and Healing of Female Imbalances program happening on Zoom. People can go to the website and see the details of it. And I sat up yesterday thinking about how long I've been doing this. I do this every year, at least one class every year, and I've been doing it since 1993. And so that's been a long time, and I'm still doing it. And so this year I'm gonna see if I can expand it to 12 months. But what we just did, and some of what we talked about, is also part of the program that's going to happen. Some of that's going to happen on Saturday. Women will learn more points to use, and other kinds of nutritional values that they can use in order for them to be able to maintain the balance of their health.
Dr. Akmal, I need you to do something for me. I
Mhm.
have to pray on my prayer call right now. Close this out for me. You all listen to Dr. Akmal.
Okay, so I got to figure out how to close this out. but but so
No, just speak. Just close it out with what your final thought.
okay, so my final thoughts are this: the desire to heal begins with you loving you. When you take that into your consideration and you begin to love you, what then begins to happen is that now you call yourself healing. Thank you for listening. Be well, enjoy your life as you peacefully walk in health. Mudupe.